I know how much effort it takes to put an event. So I'm really grateful to them for organizing this event, and at the same time, I'm grateful to their mentor, Professor V.S. Tripathi sir. Uh, this talk has been possible because of him only. So I still remember around 1 month back when he has uh, uh, suggested me that we can have some discussion of this nature. And at that time, I was thinking that okay, what I can deliver, what I can share, and I have been through this process, and but at that time it felt like okay, there is not much to tell about. But when I gave a thought about this, and then I realized okay, these are the real hurdles that I faced, and I was hoping that if there could have been some information about it, it would have been easier for me. So with whatever, with all those hurdles that I have faced and I got through, I had a recall of them and I tried to put all each and everything in this PPT. So I will be just giving an overview of kind of my experience only, and then of course there might be more things that I might have missed, and then we can have the discussion about that at the end. So if you find anything that is missing from the PPT, just take a note, and then will have a discussion about that. Before beginning, I like to give two things. One is first acknowledgement, and second is disclaimer. So in this PPT, you are going to see a lot of design and kind of graphics. And I'm thankful to my colleague, Mr. Atul Kumar Soni, for that. Around a year back, I had seen his PPT. That was very nice, very wonderful PPT. So I borrowed his PPT, and since then I have been using many of his design ideas. So I'm thankful to Atul for his design. And then about this talk, so whatever I'm going to present in this, basically that is from the purpose of guidance, and the contents are basically my personal experience, my discussion with my colleagues, my friends, fellow postdocs, and whatever information I gathered from the internet since last 1.5 years. So I have not been able to put any references in this PPT because I don't remember when I saw the particular information 1 year back. But I remember that I had saw in on website. So I haven't given any references, but all the information is basically kind of my personal experience. So when you are going to follow it, please note some might be a bit outdated. You need to check with the website and all those things. But it will give you a holistic view of the what is there, what is to be know about the postdoc. So this is my content, how I am going to follow. First, I will brief about my research groups, then about postdoc, what are the eligibility, what are the prerequisites, what is the right time to apply, where to apply, what information is required, how to apply, what is the application process, and once the application is done, how the interview, how the visa can be processed, what should be taken care about travel, then what are the documentations and what are the financial aspects, and once you are in the particular country, particular university, what are a brief about food and social life, and then I will try to conclude it. So this is my present lab. I am working at Iowa State University, Cyber Physical Security Lab. It is a part of electrical and computer engineering department. And in the photos, you can see the pics of my lab and then institute, professor I'm working with, Dr. Geli Ravi Kumar, and then my fellow lab mates. And I came here from the IIT Kanpur. So this is my previous lab at IIT Kanpur. My Professor Hasan Singh, my fellow members of the lab, Professor S. Srivastava, sir. So all those. So this PPT is about the transition between my journey from IIT Kanpur to ISU AIMS, and this transition itself took around 1 year, and so there have been some shortcomings from my end, and that is because of the lack of information. And then there had been multiple steps that I took to reach from there to here. So all those will be covered. So first things first, what is postdoc? So postdoc has many names. We call it postdoc, postdoctoral, postdoctoral researcher. So these are typical names being used by different institutes, and they stand for the same thing. And it is considered as a basically stepping stone between PhD and assistant professor, or even equivalents of that. So uh, if you are doing a postdoc, that means you already have the doctoral degree, you have done the PhD, and in future you are going for the postdoc, the assistant professor positions or the equivalent positions, and in between you are doing the postdoc. So and then it is basically a bridge between two positions, and it uh, being a postdoc, you have certain experience of the research uh, that you gain during in your PhD, but at the same time you need to learn a lot to become a professor, to become an assistant professor. So all those learnings you can start at the postdoc level. Sorry. And university is considered because for you there is basically in-depth training modules when you are joining the postdoc position, and then you have the opportunity to diversify, to explore different domain. And for the institutes, basically they get the researcher who is flexible to explore the new domains, because the existing professors, they have kind of set domain. Now their research area and all those aspects are has been kind of molded in a particular way. But being a fresh PhD, you still have to find out your way. And with postdoc, the university also gets the opportunity to explore and diversify their research domain. So next question comes up that I join the postdoc, then what should be the duration of postdoc? What is the typical duration? So as a matter of fact, there is no time limit for the postdoc. So I mean, it is my personal experience that, and I hope that it is common with each and everyone. So when you will tell that you are doing a postdoc, they will ask, how much time does it take? So because most of the people thinks it as a degree. So like the PhD, you all must be familiar about that. People have been asking you consistently that how much time it will take, but you don't know. PhD is a process, so it may take a shorter time, it may take longer time depending on how it is going on. When it comes to postdoc, it is not complicated as PhD. It is a bit simpler because here you have a particular contract. So, but then when it comes to the times in the question of duration, it is again, there is no set answer for that. It is basically a contract between you and university, and that contract could be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, like that. So there is no set duration for this, but then there are particular expenses by particular norms by different countries. Those set the duration for their particular region. So like here I have listed multiple countries. You can see that Australia has a limit of 2 or 3 days, 2 and 3 years. Canada has 1 to 3 years. USA. Now USA has for saying it has 1 to 4 years, but it is basically not the limitation on the postdoc. Basically these are the limitation on the contract. So if you are in university, you can have a contract starting from 1 to 4 years, but then you can have a fresh contract again and again. So this table here, they are basically explain the length of the particular contract. You can have a 3-year postdoc contract, but after 3 years you can get it renewed. So that's how it works. And there are particular countries where there is a limit. Like in Canada, you can be postdoc for 5 years in total. In Switzerland, you can be postdoc for 6 years. In US, you can be postdoc for any long you want, but there is a limit on visa. So if your visa limit expires, even you are eligible for postdoc, you are not eligible to stay in US, and so you will not be able to pursue your postdoc. And so these are the limits, but usual practice is that most of the people do the postdoc ranging from 3 months to 3 years, not more than that. Why? Because after 3 years, after 2-3 years, you will be becoming assistant professor at some place, and you will be switching over. So it is not because you are not eligible to do postdoc, it is because you have shifted to your next phase of the career. Then comes the question, what are the different types of postdoc? So when we listen postdoc, we always consider them in the same umbrella, but typically there are 4 categories, and they are basically based on the nature of the office that is giving you the postdoc position. So first one is the academic position, academic postdoc. Academic postdoc is basically at the university. So when you are in university, the typical norms of the university will apply, that you have to focus on the research and you have to get the academic experience. Uh, then here you have a lot of freedom of degree in terms of research to explore the different domain, and then you also will be required to secure the grants, write the proposal, and do the teaching activities as well. So all those kind of things. But when you shift to the industry now, in industry you need not to teach anything because there is no student to be teached. So that aspect is gone. And when it's come to the funding part, then again the industry might not require the funding from the government because they have their fixed project, their fixed plan. So you have to work in that framework. Then based on the what kind of the industry, your role will be different. And then there you will be, in terms of academic, you will be getting more state of the art facilities there because those technologies might be getting applied to the field directly. So there is state of art technologies are much better there. And then uh, your work is mostly focused on the collaboration and how you work with the industrial team. Then there are government postdocs, basically at the government laboratories or government offices. Now there again, you might not need to publish the documents, or you need to publish the document based on, it varies from lab to lab, office to office. And then you need not to have a teaching responsibilities, but you might need to have the other proposal writing responsibilities, and then you might have a better salary. And then comes the non-profit postdocs associated with non-profit organizations. So there might have you a certain fixed domain where you have to work upon. So all those things to be considered when we are thinking about postdocs. But now these are the different categorization. But when it comes to the percentage in the number, the most postdocs are basically in academics. So that is basically the academic postdocs. So and rest covers all these three. They are basically, they all three are lesser than the, you can say they fit around 10-15% of the total postdocs. So now you may ask that what is the impact of postdoc on my life, on my work, why I need to do the postdoc. So these keywords basically highlight those things, that what is the impact of postdoc in your life. So first thing is that it gives you an opportunity to diversify your research. Right now, when you are doing PhD, you are working at a particular problem or particular setups, but you might want to explore a little bit out of your research domain. So if you are working on project topic X and you think that I can work on delta X, I can work on X plus Y, I can work, I might like to sit in Y. So you don't know that whether why whether the new domain is suitable for you or not. So in postdoc, you have a contract of 1 year, 2 year, and you can come join that and you can explore that domain. And if after a year you find that, okay, no, this domain is not for me, I need to switch back to my original domain, you can switch back to your original domain. Or if you feel that, okay, Y is good, now I also need to explore the Z, you can have another postdoc to explore the Z. So you can have these 3 months, 6 months, 1 year contracts, and you can explore the different domains, and you can get the idea that, okay, what is much suitable for me. So, and even when you join a particular postdoc in a particular institute, in that postdoc itself, that particular position, you will get the opportunity to try your hands on different research ideas, different research domain. And I will be just explaining in the following section that how you can do that. Then comes the teaching skill. So being a postdoc, you will be, you may not be assigned the teaching loads. So it varies from university to university, and kind of the nature of the postdoc you have joined, based on the project category, all those things. So you may get the chance to teach the international community, international students. And so in India, when we see the class, it is mostly, it is 99% the Indian people, Indian students. They came from the similar background. So we have kind of single setup for teaching them. And if I mean, they might have different education level, but their background is kind of, they have been in India for around 20 years, so their background is kind of similar. But when you come to any international university, in a same lab, in a same class, you will find the people from different country, and they have different set of common sense, different set of understanding. So when you are teaching to them, then at that scale you get a very good chance, very you can say very good opportunity to improve your teaching skills, because now you have to deal with people with a different countries. They understand the topic in a different way. And then comes the mentor skill that is common for all postdoc, because when you are postdoc, you also responsible for mentoring the fellow lab mates, which are basically doing PhD and masters, and they might be working at different topics. So you first thing that you will understand, and they have different caliber. So you will understand that how to interact with the people of different caliber, how to mentor them, how to guide them. At the same time, when they are working on the different topics, that gives you an extra opportunity to diversify your research, because then without going deep into that topic, you can get the gist of the topic, that what is the research going on in this domain, what I can do, what is relevant to me. So all those ideas you can get, all those diversification you can get in parallel to your mentorship. And then with postdoc, you will be writing proposals for the in association with the professor you are working. So that will give you, and over a year you might be writing 2, 3, 4 proposals. So that will give you a good experience on the proposal writing skills. And when you are professor, assistant professor in the future, you will have the skill set required to write a proposal and gain the funding. And with this, basically, this postdoc becomes the step one towards the becoming a research team leader, because as PhD, we are researcher, we are not the team leader. But to be a team leader, there are multiple aspects we need to understand, that how my research fit the research with my colleague, how my research fit with the industry, how my research fit with the actual problem in the field. And all those things you can learn during the postdoc, because you have to implement those things here. And at the same time, you have a mentor in terms of your professor. So here you can learn that how to become a research leader, and then you will get the big picture of the ideas, that because whatever you do here, that has to go in that has to become a product. And so how your problem, how the topic you are working on fits with the actual industry product, actual product that is going to be in a field, that is a point that you need to consider, you need to explore again and again. And now you are working with different PhDs, so you can see the different components of the problem, and with that you can understand that, okay, what is required to fit all those components in a single product, or which of these components are basically not going to be part of the product, and we might need to revise them, we might need to discard them when we are when in future, when we are thinking about the product development, what things we will need to consider about. So all those ideas you will get during the postdoc. And then comes of course, the international exposure. You will get to see the different country where you are going, and then the different people from the different country you are interacting with. When, let's say, for example, you in US, when you are working here, one person could be from the China, one person could be from the you say Europe, one could be from Africa, and they all working in the same team. So with that, you will get the experience of US, as well as you will get the idea that how to collaborate with the people from the different country background. All this will make a future ready. And of course, with this, you always have the better career opportunities, because when you have completed 1 or 2 years of postdoc, the employer knows that you have this much experience. So, and in a parallel, you will have some publications. So whether you want to go back to industry or go back to academia, you always have the better career opportunities. Now, so comes the question, what are the eligibility and what are the prerequisites? So in terms of eligibility, it is plain and simple, PhD. So whether you have completed your PhD or you are about to complete your PhD, in both cases you are eligible. And what are the prerequisites? That's the prerequisite, that you should have PhD in relevant domain, and then You should have a knowledge of English with proof. What does this with proof mean? I will be discussing in following PPT, so no need not to worry about that. So next question comes that what is the right time? So understand that what is the right time, we need to understand how much time does it take to get a postdoc. And I have put these timelines here. So postdoc, basically the process starts with the application. So you will start applying for the postdoc, and then your application will be accepted and you will be called for the interview. So that entire process, that from application to interview itself, may take 1 to 3 months or even more. So that is kind of very dynamic, because where you are applying, where is the vacancy, when you are applying, all considering all those factors, they may take from few weeks to few months. And then once you have got the interview call, you might not get selected in the first attempt. You might need to give a multiple attempts. So that is again a kind of a month process. And then after you got selected, then there are postdoc formalities, post-selection formalities. And these are basically the usual clerical process happening in the government institute offices, and they are typically slow in nature. So the way office works in India is the same way any office works across the globe. So that official process are typically slow, will take 15 days to 1 month. And then after those formalities are done, then you need to go for visa, apply for the visa, take the appointment, get the interview, get the passport, get the visa stamped. So all those process itself again may take 2 to 3 months. And then once the visa is done, then you need to plan your, because you cannot plan travel just day after you get the visa. You have to make a plan that where you are going. You have to buy the ticket, you have to book the accommodation, you have to buy the stuff that you want to carry. So all those things again might take 1 month. So in a summary, if even at the fastest time rate, 4 to 6 month timeline is normal. From the application to arriving in a particular country, it is a 4 to 6 months. So with that, this time is basically equivalent to the time when you will start writing your thesis and submitting it. So my suggestion is that the postdoc application and thesis write-up should go in parallel. Once you are thinking that when you are applying that, okay, I will now start to write my thesis from next week, at the same moment you should prepare all your documents, make it ready, and from the day one when you are writing thesis, you start submitting the applications. So because the applications will, advertisements will keep coming in a regular fashion, whenever they are available, give a 15-minute time period daily, 15-minute time slot, and in that time slot apply. So these two things go in parallel. And then I mean, this is second one is with my experience with the discussion with many of my friends who are still trying to get the postdoc, and each and every one of us thinks that, okay, I will apply when I am fully ready. But the practical thing is that you will never be 100% ready. So however ready you are, apply it, and in the process you will get the interview, you will fail, you will relearn. So improve and improvise in the way. Don't wait to be 100% ready. If you have, if your research work is done and you are started writing a thesis, start applying. And then comes the question, what will happen if I get the opportunity and I still have to complete my thesis? Then you always have the option to negotiate and to say no. You can request the hiring institute that, okay, now thank you for the accepting me, but I'm in the mid of submitting my thesis and I want 1 month extension, and they will give it. Or even if you don't want to join, you want to join some other lab, you can say no. So that option is always open. You just have to be professional. You can start ghosting. You cannot start ghosting your interviewer and communication from the university. You have to reply them, but professionally you can say no, you can say request them to extend, and based on whatever happens, you can choose your next step. And so this is about the typical postdoc that most of us are doing, but then there are few renowned postdoc fellowships like Eurotech, Marie Curie, Fulbright, and when we talk about them, their timeline may take more than a year, because they might, these Eurotech, Marie Curie, Fulbright, these fellowships may require a written proposal of the research before even considering the interview process. So, and they have a dedicated, all of these have a dedicated process that you need to go and explore. And if you are thinking about getting this kind of fellowship, then you need to think in terms of 2-3 years timeline. So start thinking from the second, third year of the PhD. Now, next question comes with, okay, I want to do the postdoc and I'm ready to apply. Then what should be the location, where, to which university, to which place I should apply? So, I mean, no one can give you a accurate answer for that, but I can give you that what to be considered. So first thing is, and how to do it. So first thing is that have a priority list, and priority list means you should have a plan A, plan B, plan C, like that, whatever amount of plan you can have. And these plans means where you want to go, what are the things important to you, what you cannot compromise upon, all those things. Like one thing is that institute location and rating. So whether you want to go Europe, you want to go US, you want to go when you are coming to US, you want to come in the northern part, you want to come to the southern part, or you want to go to Australia, or you want to go to Canada. So these, and when you are applying for the institute, you have a strict regulation for the top 10 institutes, or top 50 institute, or top 100 institutes. So have your priorities set, that where you want to go, what are your priority, on which you cannot compromise. So you might say that I cannot apply, I will not go if the institute ranking is less than 10, or I will not go if the institute ranking is below than 100. So have those kind of priority set in your mind, because no one else will be able to answer these questions for you, and everyone will have different opinion that where you should go. So you yourself have to decide that what ranking of the institute is the maximum acceptable to me, what is the location is acceptable to me. And when it's come to the location, you need to consider the weather. I mean, I know a few people who are good, who have good research interest, good research experience, but they don't feel comfortable with the winter. They get sick in a winter, so they cannot apply now to the Canada or the Nordic countries, because there is a temperature there the usual weather is winter. They will consider the some region with the hotter weather. So, and some people feel the same about the summer. They might have some medical issues. So all those things need to be considered. Then you need to consider the research professor, his profile, his research domain, because in which I mean, you can have your idea of keeping your research fixed to your domain, or you want to diversify, and based on that, you might have a particular setup in your mind that this should be the profile of the professor and all those things, and then you need to go explore his profile. And when we say that explore the profile, that means explore his publications, what kind of publication he has done, what kind of the projects he has, all those details. And then at the same time, explore the lab details. And to check the lab details, there are 3 components you can consider. One is, first, most common is check the website, that we usually do. That is most common for all of us. Then second is we talk to the researcher if we can get the connection. But there is a third option that we rarely explore, to check the publication. What does it mean? You need not to check the publication for their quality, because see, when you want to see that what are the particular instruments are there in the lab, what is the hardware setup, what is the software setup available in the lab, what kind of if you are from the chemical or medical background, what kind of chemical and other components available there, what kind of instruments are available there. So they might have been mentioned on the website, but in 80% cases, usually universities don't mention each and everything on the website. But when you are writing a paper, you will mention each and every instrument you have used. So if you go and explore the publication, you will see that what kind of instrument, what kind of the devices are in the lab. If you let's say if you are working in a particular lab, from your experience, you can understand that when you have written your this uh, application part of your paper, that where you have implemented and experimented the setup, at that time you have mentioned that what kind of software you have used, what kind of hardware you have used, and details about that. So if you go and if someone sees that your paper and sees that section, he can get the idea that okay, in your lab these systems, these softwares are available. So to get the idea of the lab setup, that what you can do there, what devices you will get, go and explore that. Then of course you check the project details and domain, that when the call for postdoc will come, that will include the title of the project and brief about the project. So take a look on that. You will not be working exactly on that, but domain will be domain will be the same, and that project will be kind of the 60% of your research profile. So that you need to look into. So basically, when you become a postdoc, you will be hired. You will get hired through particular project. But as a postdoc, you will be working for that project only in a partial mode, because in parallel to that project, you will be writing proposals for new projects. You will be mentoring multiple students. They might be working on different projects, and then you might be developing some basic ideas for the future projects. So all those things you will be doing. So the project that you get hired upon, that will be basically kind of 50-60% of your research work. Rest will be something new. Then do not look for 100% match. So this usually happens that we think that okay, when we get the call for postdoc, we think that okay, this area does not fit my domain exactly. But that is a wrong approach. Why? Because let's say that there is a call for project X. Now, whoever has written project X has the expertise to work upon it. That means the person who is writing that project is already present in the lab. So you are not going to work exactly on that topic. You are going to work as a component of that. And so now a lab is basically, you can say a lab is you can put an analogous a car. So car has a different component. It has a wheel, it has a handle, it has a fuel tank, it has, if it is a EV, it might have a battery and a converter and all those setups. But the thing is that when the call for proposal will come, it will come from the car. So now you are getting hired. When a component is getting selected, it is getting selected for the car. Now only the manufacturer knows whether he requires a wheel, he requires an engine, or he requires the battery, or whatever he requires. So if you are looking for the 100% match, you might not get a very good opportunity, and you might have to wait too much and too long. So don't look for 100% match. If you think that this particular opening fits 50% to my expectation, go for it. Because when you will reach there you will join the postdoc, then you will get the opportunity to explore whatever you want in parallel to whatever work has been offered there. And then you will be able, after joining only, you will be able to see the big picture. In the call for openings, you always get the kind of glimpse only. It is not a full picture. So you don't know what else is there inside the project. And that you will get to know only after the selection, after the joining. So 50% is good enough. And then many of us, we try to stick to our PhD topic, but please keep a note that our PhD topic is not the universe. We need to diversify, because see, when we started our PhD around 3, 4, 5 years back, and we started on the topic which we felt that it is now the most advanced and most promising topic. But we have worked on it for 3, 4 years, and in parallel to us, a lot of more researchers, across the globe, there could be 100, 200 researchers working on the same topic. So during the time we completed our PhD, our topic also got saturated. There might not be much to explore there, much to learn, and much to do there. So don't try to stick to your PhD topic. If you get something similar to that, that's good enough. But basically now you are trying that at postdoc level, basically you are now trying to apply your PhD research. You are not going to do the same research. You are going to apply that to some other domain, some other field. So be ready to diversify and explore the different ideas, different sections. So can anyone confirm I am running on time or late, because I think I might have 10 more PPTs.
No problem, sir. You can.
Okay. If I'm late, if I'm running late, please ping and I will speed up.
Sure,
So,
sir.
and next thing you need to consider is that, of course, you are coming here for the research and work, so that is your priority. But at the same time, you need to consider other aspects as well. Like most of the postdocs are married, so you might be coming with your wife, or your husband, your spouse, your children. So you need to consider those aspects as well. That what is the, when you are selecting a particular university, what are the facilities for them? And you can find this information on the website, and you can ask the university. There is usually international office at each university. You can mail them and you can ask them about these queries. So you need to understand that when you are working at the lab, your spouse might have to stay at the home, or he or she may need to do some parallel work. So that what opportunities for them are available, that you need to consider, because it might be possible that your spouse is doing some job or doing some work at your place, and when you shifted, he or she has to sacrifice her job there. Now to the new country, to the at the new place, they need to find a new job, new work, and so you need to look for that. What are the, you say, documentation required, what are the permissions required, what are the opportunities available, what kind of things they can do, and then when you are had a children, what are the facilities for them available. So in most of the places they are available. It is not that they don't exist, they exist, and they are kind of good, but then you need to have an prior knowledge of that. Now next question is that whether why not India, why international? So the first thing came to my mind is international exposure. That is quite obvious. But thing is that in India we have a postdoc position, and they started recently and they are growing in number. But even then, it is my this is my feeling that we should go for international. Because since the beginning, when we started our education, we have been to that system. We know kind of each and most of the thing about that system, how that works, what is there, what you can do. So it is this international postdoc is about research as well as about our personal life as well. So when we go to some other country, we go to some other university, we get more experience, we get exposure. So that is one most important thing. Then you can get you will get the opportunity to explore the different culture, and you will get the holistic view, because whatever sometimes we think that this particular way is the only way, this is the common sense, but when we come to some other new places, then we realize that okay, our common sense does not apply here. So common sense, that famous saying that common sense is not so common, that need to be considered, and you will get the feeling of that, what does it mean. Then of course in international universities like in US, in Europe, in Australia, Canada, there are better research funding, there are better research infrastructure. In our country, there are particular labs, particular institutes who has a great infrastructure, but then each and every institute does not have. So if when you are coming to international university, you will get those in infrastructure, and then industry-oriented research. So in our country, while we are doing a lot of research, it is a common feeling that among all the researchers that our research is not of that industry orientation. It is more of in academic in nature, and it has not to do much with industry. But in international universities like in US or Europe or anywhere, any other international university, their projects are basically always tied up with the industry. So whatever problem you are doing, whatever prototype you are developing, whatever software you are developing, whatever logic you are developing, that will go directly to the industry product. So in that way, you always have the pressure to work in such a way that your product does fit in your research does fit in the industry product. So that is a good thing. And then, of course, when you are in some international university, you will build an international network of your professional connections, and that will be useful for your future collaboration. So in the down the line, after 5-10 years, when you are writing a proposal to get a funding for some international project, you will have the international connection. And even in our country, when there are multiple projects where we are required to have international collaboration, so these connections that you build during your postdoc will be helpful. And after that comes the money. Of course, in our country, the pay is lesser. So when you come into US or Europe or somewhere else, they have a better pay scale and better financial security. So that is one aspect you can consider. And of course, we know a lot of things, but we don't know what we don't. I mean, it is like that. What we don't know, we have no idea about that, and what we know, we think that is complete. So to find out that what else is possible than that we know, whether it is in research or whether it is a social life beyond the research, how the system works, our organization skill, all those things, you need to explore the international opportunities. And then at the end, we need to bring all those relevant international practices and experience to our home country so that we can improve the system back at our home. And to summarize this, you need to go for international universities to give yourself a better opportunity for the personal growth and betterment of the society and the country. So once you are decided that you want to do the postdoc, now you need to find the information. So from where you can get the information, the first option is that to visit the institute or university website, visit their vacancy page, and in 80% of the cases you will find that this university vacancy pages have a subscription option. So you can activate the alert, you can activate the subscription, and based on your based on the university's you can say policy, or based on your subscription category, you will get the weekly or monthly or daily updates. So whenever there is a new vacancy, you will get to know about it. And then regularly visit websites. I mean, by this I mean that if the university vacancy page does not have a subscription and alert option, visit their website regularly. Keep a note on that, and then follow the university and professor on LinkedIn. So when you are applying for the postdoc in any international and foreign country, international university, so your contacts matter, because first thing is that it helps you in getting the information. At the same time, if the professor knows you from some prior older memory, from some old existing connection, so he will always give you the priority. He or she will give the priority to you. So that things are quite reference and recommendation. These plays quite important role in getting the postdoc. So follow the professor, follow the university regularly on LinkedIn. Keep looking at their updates, and you will get the information, as well as you might get the recommendation. And then subscribe email servers of your domain. So this I know from my experience in power system. I believe that the similar kind of services exist for the other domain as well. So there are different email servers, like in power system we have Power Globe email. So I recommend you to subscribe those domain. So what happens that in case of I can tell you from my experience that most of the vacancies from the Europe, they come through LinkedIn. So if you are regular to the LinkedIn, you can find almost all vacancy from the Europe. But when it comes to the US, the most vacancies are going through mail. So they might not be coming to the LinkedIn. So mail is a standard practice for the US and LinkedIn is a standard practice for the Europe. So you need, I mean, based on your priority, you need to be active on both. And then when it comes to the some particular renowned fellowships, Eurotech, Marie Curie, Fulbright, they have their dedicated website. Go there. They have a fixed schedule, so they have fixed timeline. Okay, when the call for proposal will come, when you need to submit the proposal, when you need to have the interview, by what time you will get the selection confirmation. All those things are set out. So you need to go and explore that. And then after that, the last option is that there are multiple information portal available like Euroscience, Postdoc jobs, Science Careers, etc. So you can subscribe to them as well. But summary of one thing to be kept in mind that please do not depend on someone else. So why I'm saying that because even I get this call from many of my friends and colleagues. They request that okay, whenever you came, please tell me what are the opportunities available at your university or your lab, in your department, or please keep us informing. But the thing is that even if I want, I will not, because thing is that each and everyone has their personal responsibility to work. So first thing is that they might not be visiting their website regularly until unless required. Second thing is that even in the most cases, if the vacancy is in their lab particularly, they will come to know about it. But if it is in the neighboring lab as well, they will come to know about it through the public posting only, when they are getting posted on LinkedIn or when they are getting posted on the website. Before that, they will not come to know about. And it might happen that they are busy in their research, their paper write-up or something, and they miss that. And so no one can be active, as much active for you as you yourself can be. So others can help, but you must not depend on them. You have to take your lead. You cannot wait that okay, my friend is working in particular university and when the vacancy will come, he will inform me, she will inform me. He or she might miss it. So don't do that mistake. Now comes to the application process. So first thing is that whenever there is a call for postdoc, our Indian practice is that we used to submit at deadline. Please don't submit at deadline. This is not your paper, or this is not a government job application. This is a postdoc application which basically runs on the first come first serve basis. So there might be, I mean, it has happened with me as well. So there was a vacancy in Stockholm, and I applied to that. And I thought, okay, that was my first experience with this, that the vacancy was available till the end of the month, and I applied around the 25th of the month. And I did not call the interview. Even I got the reply that the candidate has been selected. So what has happened that they might have got the candidate on the first of the month itself. By the 10th, they might have done the interview, and by the 15th, the candidate was selected. But since the posting was an official process, the advertisement was an official process, so it was available on the website up to the end of the month that the window is open. While the window was open, the candidate was already hired. So never wait for the deadline. Always apply on the day one you see the post, you see the advertisement. And then there might, I recommend that if you are interested to work with some particular professor in particular lab, don't even wait for call for opening. So there might be chance that the project vacancy is available and people are thinking about to float the call for proposal or call for the opening. They are thinking about starting the advertisement. But if they get a message from him, email from you, they might consider you even without advertisement. So those things do happen. So if you are interested in a particular lab group, particular professor, don't wait for the opening, drop an email. And then there is no standard process for the application because this is highly customized practice. It varies from professor to professor, from lab to lab, from university to university, from country to country. And then what kind of funding is there? The funding agency might have their different norms and priorities. So it is a highly customized process, and whatever process is there, you have to follow it. So you can't have the same rule for all the postdocs across the globe. And typical mode of application is basically electronic submission and email submission. So with this, I have some tips. They might be helpful for you. So one thing is that make a notepad version of your details. So we have our CV in which all the details are mentioned. So we should create a notepad version of that, text version of that, so that whenever there is an electronic form we need to fill, we can fill it within a few minutes. So if you have, let's say, Word file or PDF file, oh, sorry, not Word, PDF file. So you have to copy paste everything, and then you will get a multiple errors because a lot of typos or spacing issues will be there, and that will create a problem. But if you have a Word file or a text file, then you can simply copy paste that directly from your file to electronic file, and the entire process can be done within 5 or 10 minutes. So that will speed up your process. And then keep all your documents ready. So you can create a separate folder where all your academic certificates required for postdoc. So you might have some folder where you have kept all your documents and degrees, but they all are not required for postdoc. For postdoc, basically the oldest document you will require is the MTech degree. That's all. MTech degree, PhD degree, MTech mark sheet. If PhD mark sheet is available, then that's, and then your cover letter and other those documents. So nothing older than that MTech degree is required. So just make a separate folder with these documents, and whenever you are applying, just upload them. And when you are applying for the email, then for that, just create a template email draft, and you each and every time you need to apply, you just need to edit few lines and attach the updated documents and send them. Now when it's come to the email draft, there are few things you need to consider. Like your email should have a brief of your research, and when I say the brief, it means that it should have the headings. So like in your thesis, you can have 4 or 5 chapters. So here also you can put those 4 or 5 chapter headings in a table bullet form, and then put 1 or 2 lines of your skills, your background, your interest in project. And when doing it, don't put an entire paragraph. Don't write big emails because each and everyone is busy. So no one can go through it. So keep it short, simple, and crisp with the minimum word possible. And then, of course, if you think that particular thing should be highlighted, highlight them. And when you highlight them in a professional way, that use 1 or 2 color, use bold. Don't make it art. Don't make it an art. So there, it should not be like there each and every color of the spectrum is available there. Okay, so use 1 or 2 standard colors and whatever you like, and keep it simple. And then with this, attach your CV, your cover letter, your research summary, and whatever additional document that is being asked in the call for proposal, call for the opening. Okay. So with that, you can done with the application. Now comes the interview process. Now, when we are talking about interview process, it is basically I'm talking about the postdoc interview process. And postdoc interview process is usually 40 to 60 minute process. And in these 40 to 60 minute process, when you will get call for interview, they will say that you have only that call itself will mention that you have 15 or 20 or 30 minutes for the presentation. So basically the interview will have 3 parts. First, that you have to present about yourself. Then there will be some question answer, and then there will be some discussions. And that presentation itself will be minimum 15 to maximum 30 minutes. So you have to fit everything you want to say in that 30 minutes. That means you have hardly 15 to 20 slide option. So what to put there is a big question, because your PhD thesis goes around more than 100-150 slides. Now you need to put about yourself, your research background, your past as well, and then you need to put everything in 15 to 30 slides. So how to do that? First thing is that you need to brief about yourself. Yourself means your personal details, that what are your academic background, and then from where you belong, then your degrees, your professional details, your experience. So all these details should fit in maximum 1 to 2 pages. Then there should be one slide showing your skill set. So you might have worked on the particular software, you might have work on the Opel RT software, RTDS software, you might have worked on particular graphic software, you might have worked on the particular C coding, Java coding, type Python coding, all those things are a particular instrument you have worked on. So try to have a single page, single slide that mentions all those softwares, all those things that you have worked on. So you need not to give the detail that, okay, I have used Microsoft for this. You need not to write a big sentence. Just as you see here, I have kept the multiple bullets. So in a form of bullet only, you can have your 15, 20, 30 skill sets, whatever is there. And then when you are putting your research details there, your research work, so keep that relevant to the project itself. So if the project is in the particular domain, you need to show your research of that fixed area only. You need not to show each and everything. You can give a one slide highlight that what everything you has covered in your research, like and that means your different chapter topic, your paper topics. At the end, you will be putting your publication list. So all those things you can do in one or two slides. But when it comes to discussing the research, you can choose only one topic or two topics, and then you should highlight that what, why, and how, and impact all those things specifically. So what happens that this is a particular issue I face, that it is common with all of us in India, that when we ask that what you have done in your PhD, we start explaining our equations. So we should not do that mistake. So there are multiple parts of what, why, how, and so we need to understand the difference between it. And so what we have done, why we have done, it is basically kind of a part of philosophical question. We have our degree itself is philosophy, doctorate of philosophy. Philosophy doctorate. So that philosophy is basically what and why. What we have done, why we have done. So these should be put in that way. And then when it comes to how, then only comes our equations and our concepts. And then comes the what is the impact it has made. So all these things should be highlighted properly. And when it comes to the discussion, how you did and what is the significance and impact is more important than what you did. So because the person is going to hire you is basically looking at how you deal the problem, how you solve it. So for him, what you did is, what you did could be a good thing, but it is not important for the interviewer. For him, what is important that how you did it. What is the process you thought, how you think about it. That is the important thing. And then during all those things, time limit is a quite important thing. So if you, let's say that if you got the time limit of 15 minutes and you surpass the 30 minutes, the problem with this is that now interviewer will get the lesser time for the question and answer. So he will not be able to judge you properly and he might reject you. So always ensure that your slides, your presentation must get finished within the 15-30 minutes. After that, interviewer will have his question and discussions. And then when it comes to discussion, then again he will ask about the what, why, and how of your research. What is the impact? There could be some discussion about your basics of your domain. So no one will ask you to drive particular equation to explain particular mathematical details, but they want to understand that you know the concept, you have the idea. So have that basic of your domain clear, and there could be discussion about questions about your experience and your skill sets, that which software you know, or which methodology you have applied, how this can be applied to the different domain. So all those things are important. And most important thing is that how whatever you've done, whatever your expertise are, how they do fit in the project she has. So the entire interview is for that only. So that is important. And then there could be some project requirement specific questions, like if the project requires you to develop the mathematical modeling, then there could be question on mathematical modeling. Or if the project requires you to do the simulation, then there could be question on the simulation, but that you cannot get prepared for. It will become as a surprise. So whatever, because only the interviewer knows what is his requirement. So you need not too much worry about it. It is just that you should be mentally ready for that. And then at the end there will be 5 to 10 minute discussion, and in that discussion can have a HR kind of question round. So like, why this institute, why this lab, why this project, what is the meaning of research for you, how do you proceed with the research, what does what are your expectations, all those kind of questions. So, and when you are facing an European interview, they are kind of common. In with the US, you might not find these questions too much. So, and then when it's come to, so the entire interview process is about the employee selection. We need to keep that in mind. They are not looking for an employee who can do the job. They are basically building a team that will be working for next 1 or 2 years. So it is a team building process, and they are selecting a team member. So there might be a good chance that you feel that I answered everything correctly and I did everything right, but I did not got selected. It is not because you were not eligible. It is because you do not fit in their team. So that you need to keep in mind. Now, next, after interview, if you get selected, you will have to get the visa and you need to do the travel. So here I'm going to cover that. So, I had got one question once that what are the details required and how we can do it. So I have just highlighted the timeline. So there are some, and I will be explaining that what you need to do, what you need not to worry about. So there are, after the, before visa, there are some pre-visa formalities. That is basically selection. That is your interview and selection thing. And then hiring formalities. So these will be done by the university. You need not to worry about them. Then there will be offer letter issued by the university. So all these 3 steps, these are basically the pre-visa formalities, and that has nothing to do about you. It is about you, but it will be done by the university. Then there are visa related formalities by the university. So there will be some documents, some forms that to be filled, some documents that to be prepared, and this will be done by the university. So in case of US, this document is basically DS 2019. So that document basically says that now you can apply for the visa, and that is required for the visa. So that document will be prepared by the university itself. They may ask for some documents like CV, cover letter, some degree certificates, all those things, and they may ask you to fill some online forms. But for that, they will keep giving you reminders and mails, and you need to just fill them. And then, with that, they will prepare some that online or offline version of the document, that DS 2019, and they will send it to you. Once you have that document from the university, so this is about the US, and the same kind of documents will be given by the Europe. Like in Europe, what they do, there are 2 parts in Europe. There are 2 parts of the visa application. The first part will be filled by the university, and when they will fill it, they will forward it to you. Now you have to fill the second part. So that is the visa application part. So now in US, you need to do it by yourself. They will send you the DS 2019 document. So based on that document or that form, basically we need to fill the form. We need to upload all the documents. Documents basically include your identity documents and your offer letter from the university. And then we need to pay the fees. There is usually 2 fees with each and every visa application. In US, it is basically the first the visa application, for the fees for the visa processing, and then there is a service fee. That is basically required for the once you are in the US. So you need to pay that in advance. When it's come to Europe or in other countries, they again have the 2 fees. One is for the visa and one is for their foreign ministry. So always there is, in most of the cases, you need to pay 2 fees. One is for the visa. One is they might call it foreign embassy fee, foreign ministry fee, or some other name, but they will be there. And once the visa is done, then you need to do the biometric. And to get the biometric done, you first need to get the schedule. You need to schedule your appointment. Once you got the appointment, you need to visit the visa facility center. So it is in Delhi. It is in India. We have around 4. One is in Delhi, one is in Kolkata, one is in Mumbai, one is in Chennai, and one is I think in Hyderabad as well. So there are 4-5 centers where we can visit to give our biometrics. That includes the fingerprints and retina scan. And once that is done, then comes the next process, visa interview. Now, in case of Europe and other countries, after biometrics, everything is done. You need not to do anything. You just go to the post visa activities. Your visa is okay, done. But in the US, there is one extra step, that is visa interview. And I will discuss that in detail later on. So in that, basically, you need to visit the consulate and you need to give an interview. And so once you have your visa done, then comes the visa, post visa. Basically, you need to inform the university that I have got the visa. And then there will be the scenarios, there could be the scenarios that so the document the university will give you at this stage, that for the visa related formalities, that is DS 2019 or some equivalent document, that will have a particular date mentioned that you should enter the country by this date only, before this date or between this and this date. Now this entire, after this, the visa application process, biometric and visa interview will take some time. So that there might be a chance that when this everything is done, now it is not possible for you to travel to the country within the given date. So in that case, you basically need to connect the university and you need to request them, okay, I have the visa now, but due to this problem, I am not able to travel within this date. So please update the dates. So it is a simple process. University do consider it. It is a regular thing. And they will basically give you a fresh document with the fresh date, and then you can with that new document you can book your travel and you can book your accommodation and you can do the traveling. Now a little bit inside the visa interview. So that entire visa interview at the consulate. So this is quite interesting slide, and I was too much worried about it. And in recent time, I had discussions with around 3-4 of my friends, and they are worried at the same scale that what will happen. So for that, I have just kept this slide, so that this entire interview is 60-minute process. But if you go in deep, you will find that there are 3 steps. One is that there are 3 level of verification. At the entry gate, they need to verify the passport and that you have the appointment. Then inside they need to verify that you have all the documents, and then the third verification is that they will verify your biometric and retina and fingerprint scans. So there are these 3 verifications, and this entire verification will take hardly 6 to 10 minutes. And then at the end we have the interview, that is around 3 to 5 minutes. But that entire process, for this all these verification and interview, we need to wait. We need to be in a queue, and that queue is around 45 to 50 minutes. So while the interview process is usually 60 minutes, it is hardly 3 to 5 minutes. That is the interview. Rest is basically a preparation for it. And the thing to note about the interview is that there are many myths and confusion about interview. People are really very worried about the interview when it comes to the US interview. But the thing is that please ignore all those hue and cry about interview. Why? People say that getting a US visa is difficult, and all those rumors, that things you hear, they are true. They are not false. They are true. But all those does not apply for your category. You are applying for the J1 category as a research, as an exchange program student, and for you, those whatever the reason, most of the visas are getting cancelled, they do not apply for you. Yes, it is correct, getting a visa is a difficult job. It is correct, but it is not correct for your category. It is correct for the student category. It is correct for the business category. It is correct for the other H1, B1 categories and all those things. For the J1, getting visa is an easy thing. J1 means the exchange category that the postdoc are usually fit for. So it has very simple process that keep all your mentioned requirements. You need not to carry anything etc. They will not ask for it. Only the requirements mentioned in your application. So when you will submit the application, at the end of that, there will be few documents will be mentioned that bring this, bring this, bring that. So you need to carry only those documents, nothing etc. And the thing is that the documents you carry, they should be in good condition, and they should not have. I mean, they should not be like if you, let's say if you are applying for a visa for you and your spouse, then there will be marriage certificate. Now that marriage certificate should not look like as a the forged one. That should be a proper one, proper printed and with all the required signatures. There should not be any error. So all those things. And now see this about this interview. This interviewer has only 3 minutes to judge you, and the role he has to play is that he need to ensure that once you are in US, I mean, no wrong person should enter the particular country in US, and again, when you are US, you are able to sustain yourself. It should not be, you should not become a liability on the government, and then you should they also try to minimize the immigration. So they assess that whether you, when you are going to US, you will come back or not, because they don't want anyone to living in US illegally. So basically they are judging these things only. So they will ask quite simple question, and they are not technology expert. They are some a graduate with the kind of clerical job. So they will ask that where are you going, why this university, why not India? These very simple questions. You and give them a straightforward, clear answer. And then they will ask about your research domain. So when it's come to the research domain, don't overburden them with your PhD thesis and technical details, because so that their practice is quite simple. If they are not able to understand you, they will going to reject you. So if when you will get the details of your thesis and you put the extra technical vocabulary, they will not be able to understand you, and they will simply reject you, and they will ask you to come again. So always put your research domain in a simplest way. Now, I mean, just for example, I will just tell my case that if you see my thesis title, it is quite long, lengthy, and it has a lot of technical words. But when they asked me what I do, I simply told them I work in a solar and renewable integration. That's all. So because these are the common terms, they know, they hear each and every day in and out. So use those kind of terminology. Don't. I mean, now based on your field, you know that you can understand that what to use, and then what happens that in their database they have some words that are red flagged. So like say if you will say something nuclear. Now if you say nuclear or you say atomic, what will happen that it is not that they will reject you, but then they will become cautious about you. So there are particular domains with whom they need to do extra backup checkup. So they might keep your passport and they will say that okay, we will do 1 month or 1 week backup checkup, and then we will inform you. So those things may happen. So that's why don't lie, keep it honest, but keep it simple as well. And then they might ask that before US whether you have traveled to some other country or not, and when did you travel. So just keep a mental note that month, year, when did you travel, where did you travel, and give the as simple minimum detail as possible. Don't go in unnecessary details. And they will ask that what are your plans to come back in India, or what are your future plans. So always have a ready answer that what are your future plans, and do not show any intention that you are going US to get settled there. You may come here and after later on you may decide to settle here or anything else like that. But at the interview table window, do not show these intentions, because at that scale they are not looking for the illegal immigrants and all those things. And then there is one common question: what to wear. So you need not to worry much about the cloth. whatever professional, formal, and decent wear you can find, that's good enough. So I went there in April end, so that was kind of mid of end of the summer. So I was wearing just a shirt and pant, formal shirt and pant. So like that, I mean, you need not to be in coat and tie, and this is not a job interview. So you need not to be very anxious about it. You can be as simple as possible. And next question, next step is that, okay, am I in time or I'm running over time? Can anyone? Because I think I might take 10 more minutes. Can anyone confirm?
You can take
okay.
10 more minutes.
Okay, 10 more minutes. Okay, that's good. Okay, so documents required. So when it comes to documents, we basically need most of the documents that required are at the application stage. And a copy of them might be asked in future as well. But if you have everything ready at the application stage, that will do the job. So you need to have a cover letter, you need to have a CV, you need to have list of publication and the list of recommendations, and then few other documents. So when it's come to the cover letter, you need to cover particular topics, like you should mention that the position you are interested in and what inspires you for the particular position. Then a brief about your academic and research background, job profiles, etc. And brief of your research and skill. So this topic, position and you are interested in, what inspires should take hardly 2 to 3 lines. Then your academics and job background should take 4 to 5 lines. Then the major portion should go to your research and your skill. And then after that, you should have 4 or 5 lines that how your research is relevant to their position. The position is open is already is available. So and that should take 2 3 lines, 4 5 lines, and then at the end you should mention any specific details they have asked for in the advertisement itself. So these things you need to consider in cover letter. And then comes the CV. So CV in our place we usually do not include photo in India, but the global practice is that you must have a photo and contact details. So you should have a professional photo and a contact details in your CV. Especially if it comes to the European countries and Nordic countries, if you don't have the photo, they feel that you are trying to hide something. So they don't, I mean, not including the photo is considered as a rude there. That is kind of their social norm. So have your photo there and basic contact details, and then put your relevant academic details. And so when it comes about the academic and professional details, you need, like in comes up PhD and MTech, you need to mention your thesis title, your year, your supervisor name, all those details. And then of course you need to mention CGPA and year, all those things. If you have done TA, tutor and mentorship, do mention that. Include your publication list. But while doing this, keep your CV simple. So I mean, my personal recommendation is that if you open the CV of any professor of our institutes, from your institute, from IIT, from anywhere, just open a CV of one professor and follow that. Because those are the kind of standard versions. And keep it simple, keep it single column format. Try to use bullet points, don't go in paragraph mode. And you do it on the Word or PDF, don't use any design software. Why? So what happens that many a time before the CV comes to the hand of the interviewer or the committee, it goes through some software. And many times when you are using design software or anything, that is not able, the software for analyzing the CV is not able to read the output of a design software. So if you are using, let's say, Adobe Photoshop or something like that for creating your CV, that might look very good in your hand in a screen, but the software they are using, it will not be able to read it. So even your CV is good, it is not, each and everything is not getting communicated. And when it's come to the online application, many times the application itself will ask to upload the CV. And if your CV has these images and the boxes and everything, So the software itself, the online software will not able to retract the information from your CV, and then that will cause you a lot of trouble. So do that, and then use minimum color possible. Include your list of publication, so that should be properly in IEEE format. So the way you include the reference in your IEEE reports, the same format should be used. And then your conferences, your transaction journals, they should be in the separate headlines. Keep a copy of publications with you. Few universities will ask that your 3 or 5 publications. So keep that ready. And in your list of publication, highlight if you have any recognitions with recording to your paper. And then with each application, they will ask for the list of recommendations. So they will not use this list of recommendation until the interview. But if you get selected for the after the interview, then they will ask for the recommendation letters, and that will be based on this list of recommendation only. So keep your recommendation letter list of recommendation ready, and you should have at least 2 to 4 individuals who can recommend you for the position. And when you are making the list, basically have the proper details of the individuals, like their name, their designation, their affiliation, their email, and if possible their web page and their LinkedIn page. So all those links should be mentioned, so that the interviewer or the committee member, they can look that who is the recommendee, who is recommending you. So if they want to check their details, they can check it. And before putting anyone's name in the recommendation letter, take a prior consent. So if you want a recommendation from, because later on when they will ask the recommendation letter, and you have to request the particular individual, particular professor or HOD or anyone else to give you the recommendation letter. So for that you need a prior consent. So before you put anyone's name in your list of recommendation, take consent. And then for the fixed criteria is that you should have some work history. So you must have done a PhD. He could be your PhD supervisor, he could be your subject tutor, something like that. He could be your prior boss, and the more recent is more better. And then there might be some other documents required sometimes, like your research summary. So this is basically your 2-page abstract of your PhD research, and then your research plan, statement of objective. All those things may require by some universities. During interview, you need nothing, just the slide, that's all. After interview, you will need only the recommendation letter. After the selection, then you need few documents. One is at university. At university, you need a CV, you need a mark sheet, degree, and other experience certificate. Then you need a media from instruction certificate. This is the certificate that will prove that you know the English. So what happens that in our country, there are 2 cases only. Either you are doing your PhD with the English language as a proper primary medium, or some other language. So if you are having done your PhD in English only, your thesis is in English, so you have to request your university to give you a medium of instruction certificate. In the certificate, basically you can request the Dean of Academic Affairs or equivalent department. They will give you a certificate that this student has done a PhD from here, and this was done in English language. That's all. This 2-line statement, and that will become your media of instruction certificate. And then they may ask for research plan, that is optional, and they will of course ask your identity, that is passport. And when it's come to the visa, then you need an offer letter from university, and then there will be some other documents like the DS 2019 or some part 1 of the application in case of Europe. So all those things from the university, and then you need to fill the visa application form. Then you need to pay the receipt, take payment receipt after the payment, and then passports. With this, your documentation requirement for visa is done. And of course, if you are married or anything, then you need the marriage certificate and all those documents. Now, this is almost the last part, the financial aspect. How much money we should have with us? So first thing is that we are applying for J1 visa, and if someone is we are taking our spouse or our children with us, that they will be on the J2 visa. Now, before the major portion, major worry is what we need to have before our first salary. So this is the table we have that for our first salary. It has different fees mentioned here, that for the visa we need particular dollar, for the service fee. So this is case for the US, and same applies almost for each and every country. And then we need the money for travel. For US, that is around $1,000 to $1,200. That comes around 1 lakh rupees. Then we need accommodation rent. That varies from location to location. So now there are two things that use this expenditure. Basically, they vary from city to city and place to place. So at some place you might be able to get the accommodation in $500. At other places you will be getting it at $1,000. So that band is there. And then based on the rent, you need to pay the equal amount for the deposit of the apartment. And then there might be possibility that you will not get the apartment from the day one. You might need a tentative accommodation for 10-15 days. That will take around the equivalent amount. And then food. So in US, the usual cost for food for a month is $250 only. That is around 20,000 rupees. And then initially there could be some miscellaneous expenditures that you cannot calculate in advance. That is around $300. So with this, we need basically around 2.5 lakh to 4 lakh dollars based on where we are going. And if we are have our spouses with us, then that will add around 1.7 or 1.9 lakhs rupees extra. Again, that's based on where we are going. But this amount look too big at first, but if they look negligible, if we see our salary. So if you see the salary table in US, the usual salary for postdoc is from 45 to 65K dollar, and they give you salary in three versions. Some places they pay you monthly, some places they you on 15-day cycle, some places they pay you as the bi-weekly cycle after 2 weeks. And if you see this amount here, the salary in terms of monthly salary, it is around 3.7 to 5.4 thousand dollars monthly. Now, if you see, and this is basically in relation with this table itself. So the places which are cheaper, they have lesser salary. The places which are costlier, they are more salary. They have more salary. So if you see, if you are living at a place that requires you around $3,255. For that place, you can get the salary up to the $3.7 thousand. So the entire expenditure that you require before salary, that can be managed with the first salary itself. So though this amount does look bigger in terms of rupees, and I have done this based on today's dollar rate. So initially they looks too big because we are looking in terms of rupee, and we need to have that before we get the first salary. But they all start looking kind of insignificant after the first salary. So even in my case also, when I was in India, I was too much worried that how this much expenditure we can manage, how to manage it. But once it is done, and once I'm here and I got my first salary, I was able to refill all I had taken a lot from my savings, and I had borrowed some money from my friends in US. And with the first salary itself, I was able to take care of all those things. All those issues got solved. So you need not too much worry about the salary. And if we see the expenditure of the salary after the salary, then that is quite simple. We need to pay for the rent, that is $500 to $1,000. Then the food, that is usually $250 per month. Then we need to pay for the med insurance, that is $30 to $300 based on the location and university. There could be some other living costs like we need to buy some day-to-day household items, that is $50 to $200. Then some miscellaneous. So now if you see your salary is around 3.7 thousand, but minimum you can survive with the $730. So there is a huge saving. And now if you have spouses with yourself, so per spouse, per dependent, this is the extra cost that you require. That is around $1.5 thousand. And then there are some one-time expenditures, like you need to buy utensils, you need to buy furniture, you need to buy home appliances. They are one time, and then they are again quite cheap. So I haven't mentioned rupees here because you once you are getting salary in dollar, then your analysis of payment money changes. Before you do, I mean, when you have the money in a rupee and you are paying in dollar, your mentality is different. And when start getting the money in dollar and paying in dollar, your approach gets changed. It gets updated. So you need not to worry about much about the money. That is a small factor. And again, you can always take the help from your Indian friends living in US. Like I thank my friend Avinash who is living in US. Well, because when I was doing everything, all the amount looks too much. So I simply borrowed around $1,000 from him. That solved all my problem. And once I'm here, I got my salary. I paid him back. So that is common for each and everyone because we all can explore that. Take the help. Then on this salary, we can discuss about deduction and taxes. So there are deduction against insurance and retirement plan, and retirement plan deduction is usually refundable. So we can get around 60, 70 or 80% of that back. And that is around some, I think 4-5%. And then there are taxes around 14 to 16%. But then there is an option of a tax exemption treaty. So we can opt for tax exemption and our taxes will become zero. The condition there is that we can opt for this tax exemption for the 2-year limit. So if we are living in the US within 2 years, we need not to pay any tax. But if we overstay more than 2 years, then we need to pay the tax from the day one, from the first salary. So we will need to pay back all those that we have saved. So that is some financial calculation there. And then your spouse, he or she will be coming on J2 visa and they are allowed to work. Of course, documentation and formalities are required, but they can get, I mean, I have many friends here who, and their spouses are living with them and they are doing a good job. And same goes with the Europe and Australia and the Nordic countries and Canada. Your spouse can work at all these places. I think this is the last part of my presentation, the food and social life. So cooking is at home is kind of a standard practice everywhere. So I have experience of 2 places of US and of Denmark, and cooking is the standard practice everywhere. All the basic spices and ingredients are available. At every place. It doesn't matter where you go. So, and except I mean, apart from the Indian style cooker and idli maker, all the utensils are available. If they are not available, their alternatives are available. So you need not to worry about that much. And then being pure vegetarian is not easy, but it is not impossible either. Because at the end, if you are cooking at home, it is your choice that what you want to cook, and all the vegetables and everything is almost available. And when dining out, the vegetarian and Indian cuisines are available on selected outlets. So there are Indian restaurants, Asian restaurants. They serve all kind of Indian foods, biryani, paratha, and all those things. And then few of the non-vegetarian friends worry about that halal and haram option. So halal options are also available everywhere. And this is because the Indian and Asian diaspora is present at every place. It doesn't matter at what place on the earth you will go, you will find one Indian or one Asian. So when I say Asian, I mean that this India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and the native Sri Lankan, this native zone, the Nepal. So you will find that diaspora present at each and every place. So with that, you can get the help at any time. So and they have already set up all those things, the shops and everything are there. And then there are big shopping centers, big supermarkets. They have all the items. And then occasional gatherings and celebrations are being organized at every places. So Diwali, Holi, and all those things. And then both at the university and Indian diaspora is always available for any help if needed. So if you need any help, you can ask to anyone present. And in most of the cases, you just need to tell that you are Indian, and after initial introduction, any Indian will be ready to help you in any scale. So coming to conclusion, I think, so postdoc, in my opinion, postdoc is highly recommended to shape the career and your personality. And to get that proactiveness is must, and it will save you a lot of time. you need to be ready to diversify your domain and not to give up after initial attempts. And then connection, recommendation, references, these two matter. So keep them straight, keep them right. Do not worry about visa. It is just a process. It will be get done. In J1 case, I don't remember the exact fact, but the usual success rate for the J1 is around 92 to 95%. And those remaining who did not got their visa approved, they are because they did not have the proper documents. That's all. Because the most of the visa rejection that happens is of the F1 category or H1B category, because the F1 category members usually do not have the documents to prove their financial support. That becomes the big hurdle. And then do not worry about the finances. It looks big, but it can be easily managed. And that even if you take the borrowing from someone, you can repay him with your first or second salary. And most important part are the application and interview. If these two are done well, everything will be managed. Apart from the slide contents, presentation, representation, delivery, all those things, all the soft skills basically are vital. And then Indians are everywhere, so you will get all kind of help if needed. So you need not to worry about all those things. And then, of course, you need not to worry about food and social life. With that, my final thought is that if you think you can, you must, and the rest will be taken care of. Thank you. If you have any question, I'm ready for it.
Thank you so much, sir, for this
I got
amazing and
too much overtime
session. Actually, sir, you have covered almost everything that which we need to know about the postdocs, and you have covered so many doubts and queries which we all have in common regarding the postdoc. So the session is now open for the audience. Dear participants, you can ask your questions and interact with our guest. Meanwhile, I request to all the participants, please fill out the Google form that we have shared in the question and answer tab that is on the top of the screen. Thank you.
I'm sorry for stretching out too much. I think I got the double of my time, almost double.
Any question from audience side?
Hello,
Actually,
sir.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yes.
Right.
So my question is there any age limit for postdoc?
No, there is no age limit. It's a job,
Okay.
and job usually doesn't have any research job, and it doesn't have any age limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there any language barrier?
So coming to your previous question, the particular professor, particular individual hiring you, he may have his own assumption and own criteria, but as per rule, there is no limit. And then, what was your second question? Language barrier. If you have done your thesis in English,
Yeah.
then you will not feel any language barrier. So
Sir,
as far as your postdoc,
such as in Europe,
yeah,
some countries are.
I'm coming to that. So as far as your job and research is concerned, you don't have any language barrier. But when it's come to social life, now depending upon, because see, when you are doing your research and job, you are in the university. So there each and everyone works with the same language, English. That is a standard. But when it comes to the social life, living in the city and all those things, so based on that, there might be. So now, if you are going to US or Australia or Britain, so in Canada, English is the primary language. So there is no issue. But if you are going to, let's say, Europe or Nordic countries, so if you go to their capital city, like in Denmark, Copenhagen, in Stockholm, in Sweden, Stockholm. So if you go to their major capital or major cities, again, English is common. But if you get some other places which are not kind of in the capital or the mainland, so there you will feel a bit of language barrier in a social interaction. But again, that can be managed. First, that you will get the chance to learn the language at the place. Universities have the courses for that, and while many people many people are not able to speak English, each and everyone is able to understand it. So at the end, I mean, you may face some initial hurdles at some remote places, but you will manage at the end.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, so don't worry about that.
And meanwhile, I request to Professor V.S. Tapadi, sir, which is here with us, if he want to say a few words. I think he's not.
Ankit sir, this is Savan here. Can I ask one question?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it was very wonderful explained, sir. It's very articulated, and all the details was captured. Wonderful. Okay, so my question is, so during your postdoc, right? Like once you went to US and do the postdoc, and you completed one year, anybody's done the 1 year. So is there any inter-country kind of a, you can come back to India and do some work, and again you go back to the other country and do the rest of the postdoc, because the 3 years duration, right? There are certain research. Maybe you can do it in India, certain places. Maybe some organization or the department wherever the university offered. So those facility can be done it. I'm just curious to know.
Yeah, I'm just going to that. So see, these things basically depend upon the funding agency. And I mean, in case of 90%, I can comfortably say 95% cases, these agencies are basically the governments. So they are more interested in their development, their country development. So in maximum cases, they do not allow it. So they will require that you stay in the country, you work here only, and like if you are, let's say, I am here right now, I am working, I have a contract of 1 year, and I will try to get it extended for the next year. So in between, so basically my visa will get renewed next year. So with this, and I have this DS 2019 document that will be get renewed. So with this document, I can visit India only maximum for 30 days. I mean, I can go multiple times, but whenever I'm going India, I have to return to US within 30 days, until unless there are some medical emergency and I have taken prior approval from the institute. So that is kind of the institute rules that applies to all institutes, that they do not allow you to go on home vacation for more than 30 days in a single go. That is one thing. Now, but if you are, let's say, if you are at an industry postdoc, or you are with the NGO postdoc, non-government organization. So with industry, now industry itself might shift you to different countries. It is now industry choice, the company choice. Your NGO itself can require you to move at certain places. And while you are working in a particular project in US, in academic case, now that professor of that lab may have a collaboration with a particular lab in different country, in Europe, in Denmark, in Sweden, in India, any lab. And if they have collaboration, they may decide to send you. So when it's the institute decides that you need to go, the lab decides that you need to go, you can go anywhere. But it is, you cannot decide.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the audience side? If not, then
I mean, if you get a question anytime in future, you are always welcome to reach me out. It is just that keep in mind that we both live in different time zones. So at your afternoon, I might be sleeping.
Actually, sir, before the talk, there are lots of questions are arising in the mind, but you have presented this topic nicely, and we got everything what we need. So I think there is no question from audience side. So it was very nice to present from you. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So I mean, we
yes.
all need to focus on the interview and selection. Everything else is just on fringes, and that can be managed.
Okay, okay, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, Adit, please proceed for the vote of thanks.
So now I would like to invite Mr. Tilakdari Singh for vote of thanks.
Thank you, Adit. Um, Good evening to all of you from my side, and good morning to Dr. Ankit Yadav, sir. I, Tilakdhari Singh, take privilege to extend a vote of thanks. On behalf of IEEE MNNIT student branch, I convey my deep regards and hearty thanks to our guest speaker, Dr. Ankit Yadav, Postdoc Research Associate, Iowa State University, USA, who despite his very busy schedule accepted our invitation as a speaker. Sir, I am confident enough that our participants would have highly benefited by your informative and inspiring talk about postdoc opportunities in international universities. I hope your thoughts and suggestions on international postdoc studies and its scope explained by you will motivate the research scholars to plan their career in this field. A special thanks to you, sir, for your valuable talk on duration of postdoc country-wise, types of postdoc position, impact of postdoc eligibility, and right time for paperwork, visa, and application process, along with visa interview. Now, I would like to thank Professor V.S. Tripathi, Faculty Advisor, IEEE MNNIT Student Branch, and convener of this event. I now thank all the participants for their patience and cooperation who joined this webinar from different regions of the country. A special thanks to our coordinators, Mr. Piyush Kumar Misra, Mr. Aditya Pal, and Pooja Sharma to organize this event successfully. Once again, thank you so much to all of you for attending. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And
Thank you very much,
I've
sir.
taken
For
one extra of your guys. So sorry for that. And hope to see you again. Thank you.
okay,
So,
thank you very much, sir.
when you will visit India, sir? You are visiting India.
I have no plan right now. See, there's the BS 2019 limit is there that I can visit for the 30-day window. So, and then of course the money is involved. So I will plan accordingly.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. And all of you should apply for it, look for it.
Yes, sir.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
We will meet in USA now.
Yeah,
We will come there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Bye,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
everyone. Thank you for joining.
Again, I am requesting to all the participants, please fill out the attendance form that is in the question and answer tab at the top before
So
leaving this session.
I will take my leave. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Bye, sir.
Hello.